Hello, YouTube. It's me, John Avenger, once again. And now this is one of 3 reviews that I'm going to be doing tonight because, I have some time to kill. It's late and, well, I have nothing. I can't sleep. So let's do it. Letter X. This was a disappointing movie that I saw on back in like March or April from 2017, an action film directed by DJ Caruso. He's a good director. He did Disturbia and what was it? This movie with Alex Pettyfer. What was it? The I Am Number Four. Yeah, he's a good director. He's done some pretty decent stuff. He also did Taking Lives, Two for the Money, Inside, The Disappointments Room, and he's scheduled to do XXX 4 and GI Joe Ever Vigilant. I don't know what's that, a reboot or a sequel. It's XXX 3, The Return of Xander Cage. This movie disappointed me, guys. I'm not gonna throw things because that's not the kind of movie it was. It's just it had a lot of potential that was wasted. This is why studios shouldn't make sequels 15 years later and not fall through. Like the only actors that come back from the first movie is Vin Diesel and Samuel Jackson, basically in a glorified cameo. But this movie has way too much in it. I'm gonna say right now, this is basically like Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. There's too much shit on the screen. There's too many characters. It's overstuffed. It's overlong. This movie's not 2.5 hours, but it would have benefited from being R and being 2 hours because you can't cram 35 characters in 1 hour and 45 minutes. It's just way too much. Here you have Donnie Yen, Deepika Padukone. I don't know how to say her name, guys. I'm sorry. Chris Wu, Ruby Rose, Tony Jaa, Nina Dobrev, Tony Collette. Don't like her, guys. I never did. Arandna Gutierrez, Hermione Corfield, and Samuel Jackson. Yeah, that's way too many people in this movie. This movie came out January of 20th of 2017. An hour and 47 minutes. An hour and 42, like basically without the end credits. And it cost $85 million. Really, this freaking movie from 2017. This came out the same year as Wonder Woman and Guardians 2. Where's the money? Where did the money go? On the shitty CGI? Yeah. And it made 346.1 million. That was because in China this killed because you had an ethnic cast. Here's the thing, guys. I'm going to say this once so I don't have to say this in my next 2 reviews. Do not cast people because of their skin tone, accent, or their ethnicity. Get the best actors for the best job. You do not need to put freaking a black person in a movie just to put a black person in a movie. It just feels forced, or even an Asian person or someone from from the UK or whatever. It just feels really really forced. Just saying. I didn't love Guardians 1 because of the ethnic casting. I liked it because the actors were the right people for the right job, mostly, despite my biases. Yeah, this is also the first film produced by Revolution Studios in 10 years after The Water Horse Legend of the Deep. I like that movie. I think it's kind of underrated. I want to review it one day. The film received mixed reviews. Oh God, did it? Oh my God. From critics and grossing, yeah, that what I said against a production brand, making it the highest grossing film of Revolution Studios in the franchise. But it didn't deserve it because, like I said, there's a lot of problems here. Basically, Xander Cage comes back after being gone for so long. He's contacted to what is it even is a plot? It says, yeah, Cage, who faked his own death and has been living in self-imposed exile in the Dominican Republic. Yeah, that was a problem for me. Convinces him to return to active service to retrieve the device. Yeah, some device. It's basically like a Mission Impossible movie. But you know why those work after 2? Because they knew with 2, they ripped off Bond and it didn't work. But here, it doesn't work. Hold on. Get my drink. I don't want to show my booty on camera because then I'm gonna get a guideline strike. But anyway, yeah, this movie in China it made a lot of money, but again, China shut down this year because of Corona. There's no way that if a fourth movie comes out, it has to make money on its own. You can't depend on China anymore because they're fucked. This is why this happened. But anyway, this is not a political video. Anyway, this movie there's too much in this freaking movie. The opening of this movie freaking sucks. It has nothing to even. It doesn't even have anything to do with Xander Cage. This is the opening. Samuel Jackson goes into a shop. It gets attacked by these Asians, and I'm like, is this a triple X movie or a freaking martial arts film? This feels way too much like a martial arts film. It really does, because you have Tony Jaa and all these other crazy guys or whatever in the beginning, and Samuel Jackson gets shot up, and of course they have to fake, oh, he died in the first 5 minutes. No, it's a freaking ruse. He's alive at the end in a church scene that's completely pointless. This opening was freaking garbage. Like, the opening feels more like a beginning of a John Woo movie than a DJ Caruso film. It felt out of place. You have Tony Jaa with like blonde streak hair. You have Donnie Yen in the movie just because he was in Rogue One. I'm sorry, he didn't do anything for me with that horrible dialogue they gave him. Can fight, definitely, but this opening sucked. It was so confusing. This is a triple X movie, not a triple X movie, not a porno. I'm talking about a in this franchise. This is how it starts for Xander Cage for his return. He's not even in the first 10 minutes. It's a bunch of people just doing kung fu shit like in the Matrix. It took me out of it. That opening lost me. I was like, they fight, and I'm like, it just makes no freaking sense. Because I'm like, it was one of the stupidest openings since the movie John Carter from that Disney did a couple years ago. It took me out of it. It's a very confusing thing where just you're having a battle with a bunch of people you don't know, and there's no explanation. Explain yourself, movie. Stop freaking making excuses. Stop trying to be a John Woo movie or a freaking an Ang Lee movie like Crouching Tiger. You're not one of those. God, this movie makes no sense. And why is Ruby Rose in this movie? I swear, half of the movie she has green hair and has a shotgun. I'm like, are you the Joker or what? Do you think you're the Joker? You're not the Joker. Ruby Rose, you can't act. You've never been a good actress. You're not attractive. You're very flat. The whole movie, she has a monotone voice like this. Nina Dobrev, they completely freaking waste. Like, she's supposed to be a nerdy chick. Could have went somewhere, but she has like one scene where she kills a bunch of people, and it's so freaking it's stupid. It's like she does the same thing Cameron Diaz did in Night and Day. She has a machine gun and drops it on the floor, and it starts shooting people on the ground like a freaking cartoon. I'm like, if Nina Dobrev couldn't do the action scenes, why did you hire her for this movie? The only casting that was good in this movie that was that didn't feel forced was Deepika Padukone in the movie. She's this gorgeous Indian lady, born in Denmark, Copenhagen, Denmark. Her accent's kind of sexy. I liked her in the movie. She's what's her name in the movie? There's so many characters here. Just she was Serena Unger, supports Zheng, who's Donnie Yen. He's a Triple X agent who has a team trying to secure Pandora's box. This felt a lot like a Expendables 3, where you have way too many people in there and they focus more on the younger blood than Xander Cage is a freaking supporting actor character in his own movie because the opening has nothing to do with him. And the rest of the movie is like Vin Diesel says a couple of good decent lines, and then he just goes on. There's a skateboarding scene in this movie that's so stupid it would make a freaking Looney Tunes movie look realistic. Where Xander's like sliding down and he's like freaking wheeling on top of a freaking bus, and I'm like, what is this? The Fast and the Furious? Seriously, you rip off like four of the franchises here. And the scene where he's like later on in the movie where he's like sailing on the freaking on a CGI wave. Again, what is this? Die Another Day? I've seen that already, guys. It was stupid then in 2002. It was stupid now. That movie's a guilty pleasure, though. I know it's not good, but I'd rather watch it than this. Because at least it's a cartoon and it knows what it is. And the Bond movies have been known to have too many characters. This, there's no excuse. Ruby Rose could be cut out. Donnie Yen is only there to be, like, on screen to fight, and that's it. Uh, Tony Jaa, yeah, he looks ridiculous with blonde hair. He barely says anything because he's not really. He's an English speaker, but not that much. Tony Collette, what is she there? Because she's going to betray Xander at the end, like Tony Collette does in every freaking movie. She's never an honest woman. She's always a traitor. Yeah, it felt like the Expendables 3, not the first one. The sequels where they had to put younger blood that didn't do anything, like Liam Hemsworth in the second one, or Hermione Cornfield is honestly a closet ally of Cage who lives in London. Hold on. I don't even remember who that was. That's how forgettable it was. This movie's very forgettable. Like there's too much in the movie. There's too many characters. There's too much action that doesn't involve Xander, which I don't care about. I'm sorry. The stupid logic doesn't make any freaking sense. Ice Cube has a cool cameo. His cameo was freaking awesome when he's like blowing people up. That was cool. But why is he there? Because he was in the second one, which I didn't see yet. He had a cool cameo. I admit that. But then you had professional football player Neymar, who appears as himself, and Al Sapenza plays CIA Director Anderson, who I don't remember him either. And the Spanish people in this movie are forgettable. Like, you have Aranda Gutierrez plays Lola, and then you have Sean Roberts who plays Jonas. Yeah, these people could have easily been cut out of the film. There's some like Scottish guy or Irish guy. I think he's Scottish. He's on the team as well, and I'm like, he's like shooting, but I'm like, again, guys, you only did this because of their ethnicity. It's got nothing to do with the plot. And there's gonna be a fourth movie. Yeah, you better do it right. It says both Jay Chow and Zoe Zhang were cast. Well, Jay Chow was one of the only good things in the Green Hornet movie. But again, they're casting them because of their ethnicity, not because of the best actors for the job. Caruso's confirmed the news on Twitter that all the major cast will be back in the fourth installment. Please don't bring back Ruby Rose. Put her in it and then kill her off in the first 5 minutes. She thinks she's the Joker, guys. I've seen the Joker. I saw Joaquin Phoenix's version just a few months ago. I don't need to see a woman trying to pretend to be the Joker. Because why does she have green hair? Huh? Because they think she's the freaking Joker. And there's scenes that drag on and on when they go to the Philippines and they're talking, and then they go to freaking. There's like 18 locations in this movie. They go to Detroit. They go to Detroit and there's talking. The action is well shot sometimes when Vin Diesel's actually doing something, not like sliding down freaking wheeling off of freaking buses and sailing on the freaking ship with not with a boat. It's like a I don't even know what it is, like a jet ski or something. It took me I forgot because this movie's so forgettable. It's too much, man. I can only suspend my disbelief for so long. And yeah, like this is the same problem I had with the second Kingsman. Like there's just too much in it, and you could have cut it out. And the fact that they try to kill off Xander a lot, and you don't see, and it's always a ruse because in a Mission Impossible movie, does Ethan ever die? No, we know he's going to be fine. But yeah, Xander and Zhang's teams race to reach Anderson first in Detroit, tracking down the unique signal of the Pandora's box. Or Xander and Zhang, blah 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 blah. Xander confronts Anderson, who admits to causing the satellite crash that killed Gibbons. Anderson is then shot by dead by Wolf. Yeah, this movie just sounds like a Mission Impossible movie with Xander Cage as the guest star because he's not the main character here. When your opening takes me out of it, you have a problem. Mm-hmm. You have a big freaking problem. But like I said, there's just too many characters in this movie. Ruby Rose plays Wolf, a main sharpshooter who looks like the Joker. Again, if you put the makeup on her face, it would be a Joker, and Joker's not female. Sorry. Tony Collette is Jane Mark, yeah, CIA agent, yeah, who betrays him. Rory McCann, yeah, that's the getaway driver. He's the getaway driver who keeps a record of the times he drives a vehicle crashed into things. Again, what do you a Michael Bay character? Chris Wu was Nick's. He was a guy who supports Cage. He's also a DJ named The Hood. Excuse me, and of course he's Chinese Canadian because why not? It's filmed up more like a freaking you know a wushu movie than a freaking Xander Cage movie. It's overstuffed. We don't care about a team. They did this to Vin Diesel before. Remember Riddick? The first movie, Pitch Black, there was an ensemble cast, but they fit the story. Chronicles of Riddick as well. But then when you did Riddick from 2013, he's a supporting character in his own freaking movie because of a team. I don't give a shit about the team, okay? This team, I could care less about them. If they all died at the end, I would have been fine with it. You waste Nina Dobrev, a cute Canadian actress from of Bulgarian descent. You waste her in the freaking movie as a nerd, and she doesn't do anything. She's just looking at Xander and is always hot under the collar with when these all these men are on the in the freaking screen. It doesn't. It just did nothing for me. She's the technical weapons expert. I'm like, she can't even use a gun, guys. Sorry. Having a machine gun falling and shooting everybody around, that's stupid. It's cartoonish. And the villain is forgettable. I thought Tony Collette was as a traitor. I didn't care about her. Who was Anderson? Let me see. Forgot. See, this movie's just it escaped my brain, and I just saw the movie. Okay, Donnie Yen, Chris Wu, Ruby Rose, Tony Jaa, Nina Dobrev, Tony Collette. I forgot who plays Anderson. I'm gonna have to check IMDb because I don't remember, guys. I'm sorry. I'm slowly trying to collect my thoughts with this movie because it got a 5.2 on IMDb. It deserves that. It's below average. It's not the worst thing ever. I was not. It didn't anger me. I was just like, oh, well, the scene just keep going. The pacing is just off. It's way too slow. There's too many crazy things happening, and it just feels like another franchise. And I don't even know what to say anymore. Just it's a very forgettable movie. There's some Asian cuties in the movie, uh, Asian and ethnic girls because why not? Uh, Island bartender, yeah, the bartender was really attractive. But who's Anderson? I forgot who plays Anderson. Chinese Politico, Lazarus, Lola, SWAT captain. Enslaved girls, yeah. And Xander Cage is not a loyal. He's not. He's basically like Bond. He has sex with a bunch of random women that he doesn't even know from other countries. Again, I saw that in Bond. Yeah, I don't even remember who Anderson is. They don't even say it. But the movie's forgettable, guys. I cannot. I could barely remember anything in the movie besides what I mentioned. It's a big disappointment considering that I liked the first movie. I didn't love it to death, but it was fun for what it was. It wasn't overstuffed with nonsensical characters that I've seen before, stereotypes and freaking ethnic people just because. Like I said, the only ethnic person who belonged there was Deepika Padukone. Very attractive, sexy accent, really, really enjoyable to watch. And I've never seen her before, so that kind of helped. But here, it just took me out of it. The rest of the cast just like took me out of it, and they're either underused or they're in the film just to be there. And there's also, yeah, shortly after Russian soldiers raid the island, the group managed to fend off the attackers while Zhang manages to escape in Pandora's box. Xander intercepts Zhang and chases him to a nearby beach. Serena betrays him, and destroys the box and joins Xander's team. I'm like, yeah, of course, because again, double and triple agents, just like in the Mission Impossible movies. Be your own thing. Don't try to rip off something better. I have the Mission Impossible sequels. I see them all the time. I don't need to be reminded of it here. It just made no freaking sense. Yeah, teams reach Anderson first into Detroit. Anderson is then shot by Wolf. Oh, yeah, so he dies. Yeah. En route back to headquarters, Mark announces the XXX program has been shut down again, like IMF when it was shut down in freaking in the Mission Impossible movies. Not an original freaking idea in this freaking movie. They join forces to fend off its hackers and receive assistance from another former XXX, Darius Stone. I know. Uh, Ice Cube, who's basically in two scenes. He's in a scene where he's blowing people up, and then he talks to Vin Diesel, and then that's it. Then you don't see him again. Sad. Xander crashes the plane into an approaching satellite. Crashes a plane into a satellite. Yeah, that sounds stupid. And like I said, the physics it's like four movies. It's like a Mission Impossible movie, Bond, Fast and the Furious, and freaking an Asian movie combined. And I'm like, there's too many cooks in the kitchen here, guys. Make one movie, not four. I know this is a sequel, but you don't have to overstuff it with non sequitur characters that don't work in the freaking movie. It made no freaking sense. It's just like this movie's it's a mess. It is a freaking mess. It's a hot mess. Not the worst movie ever made. I think people said the second one was just as bad, but at least that one wasn't overstuffed with characters. It's just we miss Vin Diesel, but when you bring him back and you do this, you make this messy freaking sequel with too much happening, with a forgettable villain and forgettable side characters that I don't want to beat there. Yeah, that's what you get. You get Triple X3 Return of Mediocrity. Sorry, Vin Diesel, but you could do better than this. Fire your agent. If you do a fourth one, just end it. End it on a high note. Do like what they did with Die Hard. Make a good sequel. Live Free Die Hard was way better than like Die Hard 2. Yeah, it was PG-13, but at least it did something different. Three's still my favorite, but at least it kept the tone of the first two. It didn't like become a PG-13 and then have like 85 characters thrown in there just because. And again, the villain was white, just like in the first movie. They didn't like have made him ethnic just to make him ethnic. They could have easily made Samuel Jackson the villain in that movie, but it wouldn't have made any sense. Like I said, yeah, the movie's just it's too overstuffed. What did the critics say about it? Let me see. I gotta check because I'm baffled with how much I forgot about this movie. But I remember the stupid shit in it. That's what we remember. Development, casting, filming. They don't have the reception on here. And who spells Xander with an X? That's weird. I never found that interesting. Let me check Rotten Tomatoes. Not that I trust them because they gave Ghostbusters 2016 a good rating, more than this. And this movie, a 45%. I think it deserves that because it's a mess. Return of Xander's Case should satisfy fans of the first two installments, but its preponderance of set pieces can't quite make up for a tired storyline. Absolutely tired from four other freaking movies that fails to take the franchise or action fans anywhere new. Exactly. Even the audience scores at 37%. And it's dull. When there's no action, it's just a bunch of people talking in different locations. And it did nothing for me. Yeah, and the reviews were not good. It could have been a guilty pleasure, but if it wasn't so overstuffed, you cut out Ruby Rose and Nina Dobrev and half the cast, and you just had Xander and Donnie Yen and maybe Chris Wu, and then the villain. I think that would have been, or Deepika, that would have been fine. But having like eight other characters with that, no, it just felt really, really plotting and aimless. It's like the Transformer sequels; they put too many characters in there. And yeah, this movie fails. It's a failure. That's the bottom line. The first one was at least short and sweet and to the point. It was about, well, actually, it was 2 hours, but it didn't have 85 characters. This did, and it bothered me. It's a hot mess. Skip this one if you can. Just see the first one. It's worth your time. The second one, haven't seen it yet, but I'd rather watch it than this. Because at least it'll suck, but it'll suck and be a lot shorter. It doesn't have 85 characters. But that's my review of Triple X3. It's a mess. It really needed a lot of trimming. You should have trimmed 15 minutes of the running time or make it 2 hours, but actually develop the characters. Don't just throw a bunch of people together and say, hey, go with it, work with it. No, you have to have chemistry. This cast did not, mostly. But anyway, this was a movie just to please the Asian market. And I'm like, you got to do better than that. It's not going to help you not anymore because it didn't help with half of the movies that came out, like Bloodshot and Onward and freaking these other movies that were going to be in theaters, but they got pushed to VOD because issues. But anyway, I didn't like this movie. Like, if I ever see it again, it'll be way too soon. But I would say skip it. It's worth one watch, but it's not worth owning. And it's sure as hell not as good as the first one. So thanks for watching. Take care. My next review will be letter Y. It'll be shorter. See you then.